For largely successful companies, intellectual property accounts for 80% or more of that company's value.
My faith rising, I'm crawling out the trenches, holding me. My life is only priceless. Ay, ain't no purchasing when it comes to me. Wake up ready to conquer my day. I gotta put in work until I perspirate. I'm tunnel vision till I reach the pearly gates. I'm trying to stack.
Hello visionaries, welcome to my channel. My name is Maresa Talbert, and I'm a business and intellectual property attorney and the founder and CEO of Talbert Law Office, your favorite go-to legal resource for all things business, nonprofit, and intellectual property law. In my years of practice, I have found that there are still so many people who are unfamiliar with the term intellectual property. Some may have heard about it, but still truly don't know what it means and why it matters. So today, I want to talk to you about intellectual property, what it is, and why you should care about it as a small business owner or budding entrepreneur. To put it plainly, you care because it brings value to your brand and protects your creative genius. So let's jump right into it. So we generally classify property into two major categories. Number one is real property, which includes houses and land, real estate. And two, personal property. Now, personal property can be broken down into two different types of personal property. So we have tangible property and intangible property. And if you just think about it, tangible property includes your cash, your jewelry, or even the device that you're watching this video on. And then you have your intangible property. This is property with no physical form, such as stocks or cryptocurrency. But this is also where intellectual property falls. In its basic definition, intellectual property is intangible property of the mind. This property is protected by the U.S. Constitution and federal law, and that protection is referred to as intellectual property rights. So let's talk about how you acquire those intellectual property rights. There are 5 primary ways to own your intellectual property rights, and that is through trademarks, copyrights, trade secrets, patents, and contractual agreements. I have future videos coming that will explain each of those IP methods in great detail, but the bottom line is your intellectual property is an asset. Those rights should further your business goals and provide value. In the same way that real estate appreciates in value, intellectual property also confers value to its owner. So why is ownership so important? For largely successful companies, intellectual property accounts for 80% or more of the company's value. Let me say that again for the people in the back. For largely successful companies, intellectual property accounts for 80% or more of that company's value. And that value essentially comes from the owner's right to prevent other people and other competitors from using it. So when we talk about the benefit of owning intellectual property, the most obvious benefit is what I just talked about, which is being able to prevent unauthorized users from using your intellectual property. Another benefit is that owning intellectual property really attracts investors and venture capitalists. You can also use your IP as passive income and get paid to sell or license the IP to another person or business. You can enforce your intellectual property rights in federal court. And get this, y'all. You can even use your IP as collateral to secure financing for a business loan. So now you're wondering, when is the right time to protect your intellectual property? Here's the thing. IP registration is protected on a first-come, first-served basis. You will not be able to protect your intellectual property if someone else has already protected something identical or similar to yours. And each one of those 5 methods that I spoke about earlier serves a different purpose and requires a different strategy. So it's best to evaluate your options as early as possible. The sooner, the better. Well, that wraps up this video on the introduction of intellectual property. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments what questions you have around intellectual property and what other topics you might be interested in. Once again, my name is Maresa Talbert with Talbert Law Office, your favorite go-to legal resource for all things business, nonprofit, and intellectual property law. I'll see you in the next video.
I done made it this far. I'ma keep it pushing, yeah. Even made it through the